Mayor Giuliani, there's a problem in Washington. Most Americans feel that with all the revelations coming out, that between some of the work some of the FBI agents did and the Department of Justice, there was almost an attempted coup on an elected president. What do you have to say?
Well, I sure think there's enough evidence that is a theory that has to be pursued by serious investigation. And I am shocked that none of the major newspapers is reporting on it. It's almost a complete confirmation that there's a certain corruption in a lot of our media. Now, let's look at what has been revealed, and we know there was a meeting in January of 2016, the election year, in the White House with, I think, the second level of the National Security Council and Ukrainian officials. The purpose of that meeting was at least one of the purposes was to get the Ukrainian officials to dig up dirt on Donald Trump, Paul Manafort, and members of the Trump campaign. There are a number, I'd say at least 2 or 3 Ukrainian officials that have gone on the record. This is not anonymous like, the New York Times usually does. They've gone on the record to testify about this. And a very, very good journalist for The Hill, John Solomon, claims to have a documentary corroboration of it. We also know that the Prosecutor General of Ukraine, a man named Lutsenko, has opened an investigation of how the Clinton campaign and several Ukrainian officials and our embassy in Kiev, Ukraine, were working together to develop negative information on the same group of people. And also possibly items that were included in the notorious Steele dossier, which turned out to be largely false. So, and I could give you 4 or 5 more things. John, this is a lot more evidence than they had when they opened the investigation of Donald Trump, when they just had one short sentence from Papadopoulos that was actually fed to him by somebody else. So I'm hoping that there's a full-scale investigation of this. And I really think it's outrageous that it's being ignored by a lot of the American media.
Now, how could something like this happen in this day and age? Did they feel that nobody will catch up with them?
Well, I think they felt immune. Look at the way Hillary Clinton was treated by Comey. I mean, she certainly had to fix in on that. I think there's no question that people in the Obama administration, I'm not saying Obama, but certainly Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, his lover, Bruce Orr at the Justice Department. It's certainly obvious they felt they were above the law. And I don't know if you've met these people, but there are a certain number of these Trump haters. They believe that anything they do is justified, including violating the law, in order to save the country from Donald Trump. It's called Trump derangement syndrome. And they pretty much had immunity with the Obama Justice Department that wouldn't go near prosecuting any Democrat.
Tell us your feeling about, we have a new Attorney General. We have Attorney General Barr. Does he realize what's going on and all the things that have happened?
No, I haven't talked to him about it because I don't want there to be any suggestion that anybody is influencing him about this, even though that'd be okay. Every citizen could. But I have not talked to him about it. I just know Bill Barr from a long time ago. And this is a very, very good lawyer. This is a very honest man. And it's a man who would be outraged by something like this, whether it happened, with Democrats, Republicans, or who knows who else, which is the way I operated when I was in the Justice Department. Didn't matter if you were Republican, Democrat. If there were allegations you violated the law, we would investigate you. And, Donald Trump was investigated with no allegations that he violated anything. And then it proved after 2 investigations that there was no evidence at all of any kind of illegal connection with Russia.
The item that most concerning is Rod Rosenstein from the Justice Department is the one that either was very serious or jokingly said, let's tape the president of the United States and try to get him. And he's still there.
Well, I can't tell you, John, what Rosenstein did and didn't do, because there's a dispute about what happened with Rosenstein. I can tell you that in my dealings with him, which were rather sparse and infrequent, but in his overseeing of the investigation, he did act as somewhat of a conscience for an operation, Mueller's operation, that had no conscience, that did, and some of the things haven't even been revealed yet, who did some pretty outrageous things because they thought they could do anything in order to either get President Trump or maybe even to frame him. I believe that when it's all revealed, we go back to 2016, this whole Russian collusion thing did not happen by accident. I believe there were political enemies of the president who had an ability at the upper levels of some of our most important agencies to corrupt them and to use them to first prevent the president, prevent Donald Trump from being president, and then as an insurance policy to remove him. And when I say that, I'm quoting Peter Strzok, where there was a text message discovered demonstrating that.
Well, Mayor Giuliani, I mean, the American people are concerned. And, like the old FBI movies used to say, somebody has to go to jail to be satisfied that justice is being done. How do you feel?
Well, what I feel is there should be a full and complete investigation. The era that, the Clintons are above the law, that they can obstruct justice and get away with it. Big debate going on about those statements in the Mueller report where they can't charge obstruction of justice, but they kind of in a very sneaky way suggest it. Well, when you look at what was in the Hillary Clinton report, that is obstruction of justice. I mean, President Trump did not delete 33,000 emails. He didn't have someone crush cell phones with hammers, and he didn't have someone bleach bit a server. Those are classic acts of obstruction of justice. In fact, President Trump was not guilty of the underlying crime. Even Mueller concluded that. So he is an innocent man, and what he was doing was defending himself, and whatever he did or didn't do, none of it obstructed the investigation. Nothing was destroyed. Nothing was bleach bit. No information was denied. All the text messages, reports, memos. How about 1.4 million pages of documents turned over, 500 witnesses, no one in any way stopped? So you compare the two things and you say to yourself, how can they be seriously talking about obstruction of justice when Hillary Clinton went scot-free, destroying thousands and thousands of pieces of evidence? I mean, Jerry Nadler should be ashamed of himself. He's such a phony. He was the one who didn't think the Clinton report should come out. And Clinton was guilty of perjury. And he wants this report out, even though they can't find a crime to charge.
You're absolutely right. Mayor Giuliani, America's mayor and the president's defender, thank you so much for calling in this Sunday morning. And let's talk again real soon. This is
Anytime,
the
John.
Thank you.